Hello and welcome to India Today. I am Sanjay Ponnappa.
And this is Maruthi Acharya, and we just completed watching James Cameron's another visual spectacle, VFX wonder, epic saga Avatar 3, Fire and Ash. Before getting into further details, if you watch the film, mention your review in the comment section below. Sanjay, if you have to explain your experience in one line, what would that be?
Overall, my experience was good with the film. It is a 3-hour, 20-minute film, but it didn't feel exhausting, which is a good thing when it's an extended film like that. But there are demerits. Visually, this film is absolutely beautiful. Total stunner and IMAX experience for sure. The second half is so much more better than the first half.
A visually stunning but emotionally distant. Let's get into the details. Firstly, what works in the film, like we've mentioned, visuals. Kudos to each and every department, starting from the simulation, starting from the world building, character development, prop development, because whatever you're seeing on big screen from, like, not just this film, all the films, again, if you watch it on IMAX 3D, right, you can appreciate the attention to detail that has been given in terms of world building. Everything, every small detail, water simulation, fire simulation, one of the most difficult things. There are living creatures, there's 3D models, performance capture. The technology is also upgrading with each and every film. So every department, kudos for giving us this visual spectacle.
Yes, this is 100% an absolute visual spectacle, and preferably something that could be enjoyed a lot more on IMAX screens. I won't get into the details because he's already told it, but there are moments in the film, little moments where you attention to detail is at the top notch, right? When there are CG characters, when there are visually rendered characters interacting with human characters, there are some problems that you notice when they exchange stuff and all of that. The beauty about this film is that they've effectively come up with a way to not take on more load, but to land the whole emotional impact over there. For example, there is this whole scene where they have to exchange this dog chain. In otherwise, what is the scene?
They'll
Take
drop
it,
it.
my son. Thank you, father. But that was not the case with this film. They made it very simple. When this dog chain is exchanged, the father just puts it in his palm, passes it to his son's palm. It's as simple as that. Easy as it comes. So this efficiency is what I really liked about how they've used the visual spectacle, all the technology to make it good, but at the same time how they've used their brain to make it simple as well when they are doing all these tricky stuff.
I feel the soundscape of Fire and Ash was far more superior in comparison to the second installment, which is Way of Water. Yes, the Pandora theme is ultimate. It is the OG. There's nothing we can talk about it. But I feel the second installment's overall sound experience was a little underwhelming for me. And despite of third part having lot of drama heavy sequences, and for the drama to work, sound plays a crucial role, and I feel Fire and Ash got sound really well, because of which, even though the drama portions take a major chunk of the screen time, running time, but it still lands because sound did its elevation perfectly.
I feel like the third part did a better job with establishing their characters and making them, more connected with the audiences. I feel like in the second part, a lot of other characters started, taking a bit of the screen space in the film, and not all of them really connected with you as much as the first part. But in this one, I feel like they've done a much better job in terms of, building characters. Much like how everybody wants Steve to live. Steve is not the main character of Stranger Things, but everybody is rooting for him. My phone is flooded with memes for him, right? Similarly, there are so many other characters that have also been built in this universe now, who you kind of care for, you root for, you don't want anything to happen to them, and if something comes to them, it will affect you as a viewer as well.
James Cameron's conviction, whether it is bringing new technology to cinema or trying to give a visual experience like never before every time. While walking into the auditorium, the thought that I had is, I've already watched Pandora, this kind of world, what new will I get? Even action sequences. But I was completely wrong. He just has that right conviction to still bring audience to theaters, and that is why, irrespective of the expectations, the output will not disappoint you. And major credit goes to director James Cameron's conviction.
And another thing that I really like to give a shout out to is the action sequences in the film. Because irrespective of how much energy the drama sucks out of you, the action sequence will just loop you back onto the screen as is, especially with the visual spectacle that is going on along with it. because the choreography is so beautiful that you'll start feeling for the characters. What is going to happen? You build that intensity inside yourself. It's not just one scene. There are multiple scenes in the film where this happens repeatedly. Kudos to the action department as well.
Now, getting to the things that didn't work for me in the film, first and foremost, like I mentioned in the intro, I feel Fire and Ash is the most emotionally distant film if you look at all the three installments, because I personally am not enjoying the way the story is moving forward, because part 1 Avatar started as man versus nature conflict and Jake Sully was an anchor in the story. Second part was they were set up, there was a lot happening in the second half, but still, other than the main 2-3 points, mostly the film is emotionally distant. And here also, though there are so many characters like Sanjay mentioned, but the way the story is going, it is like any other political drama or survival thriller, because of which, even though visually you are in Pandora with every film, but emotionally you are still sitting on your chair and watching it from a distance. So that emotional distance is something that is bugging me, and I think third one is a little too distant in comparison to the other films. Well, Neytiri's character, she lost a child. It is very much understandable how difficult it is for her. But the way the story, the plot points, everything will lead is that you get more frustrated, then sympathize with her. I think it has a lot to do with the way the story and screenplay is heading. That is the biggest drawback for me in the film.
Mine's similar, but I'll put it this way because it is a little different. First part is about human nature conflict, right? But that is not how they packaged it. They removed all the nature from Earth and made a complete planet of its own, which is Pandora. And humans are going there to, basically take over the planet and make it hospitable for the humans. It felt a little unique. First of all, a new world, which is, you see trees, you see the forest, you see water, all of that is very relatable, but it is a little different. It has its own touch. Mother Nature is Eva, and the aura surrounding her. Tribals from Earth from the olden times are the Navi people, and their weapons are what basically they used. So the representation is there, the relatability is there, but it is still a little different, and you are intrigued about this unique looking people, the avatars, what they are, what is their whole way of life. All of that kinda just takes you into that whole world. In the second part, the whole story became a little more personal than as is. Jake Sully, who's the Toruk Makto, the leader of the whole clan, abandons his clan just to make sure they are safe and then goes into another clan and puts them in danger. You can see that the whole story is about, Sully stick together. Sully's never give up. Sully's that. It is about Jake Sully and his family and him trying to protect them. It became all about that. This part, while there is a lot more scope, I was expecting it to be something different. I thought Fire and Ash will also introduce us to something new, something different, a different tribe, and we'll explore that part a little more. What is this Fire and Ash? Are we going towards the volcanoes now? What is going to happen? Was something that I was expecting, but it felt more like a human drama story. Why do we have to go to Pandora to watch a human drama?
All of this would have been taken by audience if it is not diluting the original core and crux of what Avatar stands for. I feel like the original idea of Avatar is getting diluted in this human drama that they are trying to build with many characters, is how I would put it. Now, getting to the second thing, 3 had lot more potential to become a much better film in terms of emotional high. So I see lost in potential with part 3. The Fire and Ash, that tribe, the setup, the establishment, all that we know was they are power greedy people who works for survival. But I feel the characters, there is lot more potential, starting from the terrain, starting from the way of life, starting from what they stand for, what is their belief system. I think even 10% of time spent on the water people in 2 is not done in Fire and Ash. Because there's this one sequence, not a spoiler, but the main leader from the Ash clan, the moment she learns how to use a gun, there is this one big celebratory, ceremonious big sequence which gave me the high even the action sequence couldn't give. There's just fire coming out and she's dancing, people are dancing, there's drum beats. See, that it's not always about visually stunning CG rendered sequence, it's also about those kind of scenes where the characters get elevated. There was potential and it was not used, is what I would say.
Another drawback in the film, in my opinion, is the screenplay in a way, because it felt very repetitive. There was a lot of repeated sequence or the repeated setting from the second part, which was a little underwhelming given the stakes that had been built in this film. They go to a lot of places but come back to the same place what happened in the second part, and that kind of was like, okay, am I watching the same thing again now? The only thing that is different in this one is that the magnitude increases, the destruction increases, the fire increases, but it is the same but different. I feel like there was a lot more to discover even in the world and the settings that was established in this particular film than what was.
There's something critical that happens with Spider's character, okay, especially in the second half of the film, which was really interesting. First of all, the way that scene was executed itself is a lost opportunity. That should give you the high, oh, there is a new plot point that has just opened. There is a possibility, because if the R&D team could replicate what happened with that character, it leads to bigger problems. It was just addressed in a dialogue, but I think that plot point deserved much more weight, attention and development, because I felt there is more merit in that idea than all the other ideas that were explored. That was a brilliant idea, and I think, see, these kind of movements and ideas which had potential were not explored, but conversations about how they feel about each other went on a little too much, because of which Avatar 3, though better than second one, is still just a good visual spectacle.
It is an amazing visual spectacle, but a good story is
Yeah.
what we'd say. So this has been our review about the film Avatar, Fire and Ash, although there was minimal ash in the film. A lot of fire, a lot more water. If you like the film, if you watch the film, what is your opinion? Do you agree with our review? Mention that in the comment section below. We've reviewed a couple of other films as well. The links will be in the description. It is also up on the channel. Do make sure to check all of that out.
With that, this is Maruthi Acharya,
I am Sanjay Ponnappa.
and you're watching India Today.